Sed Jin Sed Çîrok, influenced and inspired from good night stories for rebel girls written by Elena, Favilli and Francesca Cavallo. Our goal with this project is to introduce you to women's stories that will inspire, encourage and support you to name your creativity. Though we don't have a traditional definition of being woman, but this will come later in other videos. I'm very happy to have this reading session today with Steph. Today's guest, Steph, has passion for coffee, for writing, for poetry, and she is really a great singer. Stephie, or Steph, is with us. Welcome.
Hi. It's interesting that you don't say anything about cooking, though.
Yes, this we will see. So another passion of you is cooking, yes? As we see right now, you are cooking. What are you doing right now for us?
I'm just preparing a paste to put on flatbread, like a focaccia bread, which I will make in the process. So this is just like some garlic and some parsley and some parmesan, which will be put on top of a flatbread that will like go up in the oven, and it will seep. The mixture of oils and garlic and parsley will seep into the dough, and that will be really tasty. And then we'll put some cheese and an egg on top, and that's almost a meal. It's a real nice way to make bread.
Super, then I will also see and taste your passion with cooking.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. Which story you choose for us, dear Steph?
I chose Astrid Lindgren.
Mm-hmm.
Because I read a lot of her books when I was a kid, like I think a lot of people or a lot of kids all over Europe did when they were children, because she's like one of the most acknowledged children's writers in the whole of Europe, I think. And her books are always about adventure, about friendship, about people working together on a goal, and also about hardships. She never neglects the parts in life that are hard and tragic and tough times to get through, but she always finds a way to put it in a way that you feel like the situation has been resolved and everyone is happy in the end and has found their way, especially in friendships. So this is really beautiful, and I enjoyed a lot of her books a lot, and they still have an influence on the adult life, I think. I think that's it. Yeah, she's one of the greatest children's book authors I could just imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We also see one of her book, Mio My Mio.
Yeah, that was actually mine that I got sometime, I guess, when I just could barely read in the 80s. That's the original edition I had at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I read it many times, I think. I haven't read it in a very long time, so that's inspiring me to read it again. And this and The Brothers Lionheart are probably my favorite books of hers. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Can you please read the story that you have chosen?
Yeah, sure. Okay, Astrid Lindgren. Once there was a girl who lived on a farm with her big family. She would spend entire days roaming free in the fields with her brothers and sisters, but she also helped take care of the farm animals. Not just the small ones like the chickens and the ducks, no, even the big ones like the cows and the horses. And her name was Astrid. And she had quite a rebellious spirit. She was strong, brave, never scared of being alone, and she could do all sorts of things. Clean, cook, fix a bike, walk along rooftops, fight off bullies, make up fantastic stories. Sound familiar? Well, if you've ever read about another little girl who was strong, brave, and fearless, called Pippi Longstocking, you won't be surprised to learn that Astrid was the author of that brilliant book. When Pippi Longstocking was published, lots of adults disapproved. Pippi is too rebellious, they said. Our children will think being disobedient is okay. Children, on the other hand, absolutely loved it. Pippi didn't just say no without any reason. She showed young readers the importance of being independent, while always caring for others. And today, Pippi Longstocking is one of the best loved books in children's literature. Astrid went on to write and publish many more books, always depicting strong children in charge of their own adventures. So, whenever you're in trouble for something you did, grab a copy of Pippi Longstocking. She will always be there to help you.
Thank you so much. You read in a very special way. In a way, thank you so much.
Sure, pleasure.
It just went through my eyes, like I saw it when you were reading.
That's what she does as well, you know. That's the picture, or that's the thing I need when I read books, you know. I need to have that picture in my mind immediately when I read something. That's what she does. She conjures up like this whole world, and you're just immediately in it. She describes the people so well, she describes the surroundings so well, and you're just sitting in a Swedish farm village with those people surrounded by those noises of their nature and everything. It's very evocative, and that's what a good writer is all about, in my opinion. Those are the books I like most. Very evocative.
Yes, so you can visualize
Yes.
while reading.
Yeah.
Cool. What would be the connection between you and her?
I think I'm a city girl. I grew up in the city, but my grandparents also had a garden, so I did a lot of that garden type of work, and I was a lot outdoors, and I loved that. Not being around animals though, we didn't have any because it was in the middle of the city, so we weren't allowed to have some. But like being able to take care of stuff yourself, like being able to repair your own bike, being able to sit in a vegetable patch and watch things growing and how food grows and how vegetables grow, and just being like independent and taking care of yourself and others. And also that concept of friendship is very important to me. Like things don't always have to be good, but you have to find a way to make it work for everyone and make everyone happy in the end, and work together on like a plan or a way to make your life worth living. And friendship is a really big part of that, and the friendships in her books are always like really close, really valuable friendships that make people's lives richer and better. And so that's maybe something I really connect with, because I choose people in my life very carefully and wisely, and I don't let everyone in. So the friendships in my life have to be meaningful and also full of life, like being outdoors, doing things together, not just like sitting in a cafe drinking coffee all the time, but just like really doing stuff together. So her depiction of friendship is one I admire a lot.
You said that you're a city person.
Yes.
But you have a small garden too, right?
Yeah, I kept on the tradition, and I took my grandparents' garden, and I'm trying to grow a green thumb, which I don't naturally have, even though I was taught a lot about nature as a kid. It's a developing thing. It's getting better every year.
So maybe it can be also a place for community, for friends coming over.
Yes, of course. The more help, the better, and also the more food, the better. So there's a grill. We can have barbecues. We can like harvest some vegetables or fruit and then just put them on the grill and cook up a nice meal, be together, have a nice time.
So interesting, because when I listen to you, I can also visualize all that. Now I found the connection.
Well, give me some time, and maybe when I'm older and I have more free time, I will write my own stories.
But you write also, right?
I do write, but I need to get into a mindset for writing. I don't know. It takes a lot of patience, and it's not always easy to get into that mindset to write. But I do for sure have a lot of stories in my head. They will come out one day.
But you have something written, right?
I have some stories written, a couple of short stories. Oh, it's making a lot of noise.
It's a very pleasure.
Well, I'm just helping the yeast along. I don't think it's very easy. Writing, if you don't have much time, if this is not your job but your hobby, and some people get into the mindset really quickly. They just sit down, they open the laptop or whatever they're writing on, maybe they're even writing by hand, and they just start writing, and I admire that loads, because I sit there for hours and I have like maybe something in my mind, but it takes so much time to put it on paper. So
you need a big time for that.
I need a lot of time for that. Yeah, I think there's a poem by Bukowski that says something more or less, if it needs to get out of you, let it out. And sometimes it's not the right moment, and when it's the right moment, you just gotta let it flow. You just gotta let it out. No matter, nothing can come in the way, you will just do it.
I actually believe in this, and this waiting so much to make it very perfect, and then I said, no, I just let it go out of me. And that's why I'm very happy, and I hope you will also keep writing, even though you don't have so much time.
Yeah, I will, for sure.
Yeah.
Whenever I find a free moment.
Okay, what else you do actually?
Oh.
Can we get to know you a little bit closer?
What I do?
You're singing?
Yeah, I'm singing.
Tell us a bit.
I've always loved music. Most kids, when they first listen to music, sometimes it's classical music. With me, it was classical music, and I was really into Beethoven when I was really young, and everyone was like a bit mad. Like, children usually like Mozart because of the harmonies, because Beethoven is a bit more, deeper. This doesn't work as well as I planned. And so from a very young age, I always followed like music, and I sang along. I just sang along. It was never about like going to some classes or something. I just loved singing along. And I went to karaoke with some friends, and then someone just came to me and said, well, there's this choir we're developing, and it's going to be a really interesting project, and if you want, you can come to a audition. I was like, what? I don't plan being on stage or anything. It's just, well, it's a project for fun, and you sing very well, so just come along. So I went to the audition, and they liked me a lot, even though I messed up my audition big time, because I'd never been to something like that, and I was so nervous. And still, they gave me a spot in the choir. And within the last 9 months, I think, it developed into something quite huge. And we just recently had our first big concert. Mm-hmm. And with a program we made up in like 9 months, that was really like evening filling. It was a real concert. And people liked it a lot. And I think
I also liked it very
you
much.
were there, I know. I could see you during the concert. You enjoyed it a lot, yeah.
It was really amazing.
And yeah, we had very good
responses.
responses.
You don't need so much time if something is for fun.
Yeah, well, it took a lot of time. Well, my garden suffered a lot this year because I haven't been out as much as I would have wanted to. But then we achieved something really great with that group of people, and they're all in their own way really amazing, special people. So that's a little family that is formed there as well. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So now we know. Can you please say the name of the band that you?
The choir's name is Spielhagen.
Spielhagen.
Yes, we have a couple of videos online. Just go to YouTube. I'm making a bit of advertisement. Check us out. We have an Instagram account. We have a YouTube page, and we're really hoping for a lot of good feedback, because we love what we do. And it's really more than a hobby. It's a family thing. We've grown into a quite coherent little family.
I'm very happy, and I hope safety for your writing. And
yeah. Next year will be divided between garden, choir, and friends. And in the meantime, when I'm sitting in the garden and I'm fed up with like digging in vegetables, then I'm going to write out in the sunshine.
Yeah, cool, super. Do you want to tell us a bit more about you? Where are you from? I mean, you don't have to say the facts, but still people would like to know you maybe more, and a bit the connection with coffee.
Well, obviously I'm kind of obviously the first person who's actually from Berlin that you're having in this project.
Yeah, Berliner.
I'm one of those who were actually born here and in the western part of the city as well, because I dated before the fall of the Berlin Wall.
Political
speech. Yes, I remember. And yeah, I grew up in a very traditional family, but a very open family, and my contact with coffee came through me being a chef for a couple of years professionally, and then I got fed up with the moods and the people in the kitchen who were always like not the most welcoming, most polite people in the world. Kitchens are difficult actually, so I got into service, and then I found a real nice company that has a couple of coffee shops, and they make their own food, and they take very much pride in using good ingredients and producing the best quality coffee you could have. And so I got into coffee making, and I experienced a lot of interesting people in that field, and a lot of people who are so ready to share like their knowledge and their experiences with coffee, and that shaped a whole new interest. So I'm really into coffee now.
Wow.
I'm teaching classes how to make proper coffee and latte art and the backgrounds, and
Maybe one day we can visit you there.
yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, Steph. It's really difficult for me to interrupt this conversation. I think we will go on after that I stop the video. And also it's very beautiful to watch what you are doing with your hands and cooking and baking, I don't know. And it's really difficult for me to stop, but now I will stop it. And thank you so much
It was a pleasure.
to be guest in Sed Jin Sed Çîrok, and I'm sure people will like it.
All my favorite topics.
Thank you so much being here.
You're welcome, Diba.